Hey guys, Don here. Welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. I'm going to go over the $1 Million Minute. This is everything that kind of doing our practice to get to the $1 million mark and beyond. So today is a recording from a Tuesday in the office. So I had 24 patients, 0 openings. During the day, I did have a couple of cancellations. There's a 71-year-old that was a Lamisil follow-up, and another one that was a 74-year-old. So 2 cancellations. It's always good to know the good and the bad. Okay. The best thing about the day was I had this patient. She had 2 nails, the great toenails bilaterally. They were injured. I think she may have had maybe they tried to do a total matrixectomy, but she only had the base of the nail, and instead of growing longer, it just grows thick. So she's a prime candidate for having CaryFlex. And the good thing is Marjorie was there, my new nail tech, so she did both of those for me. So I'm going to try to have her see all of the CaryFlexes because I just think she does a better job, and I'm seeing a lot this time of the year. So when I'm recording this is like April, and so I'm seeing a lot more people for the CaryFlex right now. So she did those, and then I also debrided those 2 nails so that I did 1 to 5 nail debridement and then the 2 CaryFlexes, and then she bought a kit. So the kit we charge $75 for, and I usually say there's about 3 nails in there in the kit, and then it was $125 for the first nail, and I think it's $50 for the second, or $75 for the second nail. Next patient was a 64-year-old patient that had an IND of bilateral great toenails for ingrown toenails with their slight redness and infection in there. Next patient was office visit with that. And then next patient was a 43-year-old established patient that had some Achilles pain, follow-up, doing much better, and no need for follow-up. Next patient was Swift number 2 out of 4. So I had a couple of Swifts today. This was 2 out of 4, and there was another one. This one was a 37. The other one was a 42-year-old, both females, that did the 4th out of 4th. Now, they both suffered quite a bit. I usually do between 6 and 7 in terms of energy, 2 seconds, and then 6 in each location. And depending on the number, they sweat a little bit. That's what I say. There's no real way around that. One of them, the second one, I did do Cantharidin in conjunction just to help get it away better, faster. But this other one was going on vacation, so I didn't do Cantharidin. A lot of times I'm also having them do Aldera as well. And once in a while, if it's a hard one, I might add laser to it as well, just to throw everything at them. I don't do it for every patient, but the ones that are more challenging, I do. Next was a 68-year-old female that came back for a Lamisil booster. So that would be the second Lamisil appointment where I gave her another round. Next patient, this was a patient. She was a second opinion. There's not really a second opinion. She was here. She had 2 wounds, one on the right dorsal hammer toe and one on the left first met head, 80-year-old female. And she was being seen by another local podiatrist that they're concerned they don't do wound care anymore. Nail care. So she was coming to kind of look for nail care for getting that established, but she was also concerned about the wound. She had been on some doxycycline and was vacationing in Florida. And I decided to send her to the wound center. I debrided the wounds, did an evaluation, and I don't see a lot of wounds over and over in my office. That's just not kind of my strong point. And so she's going to go to the wound center for there, unless the other doctor wants to see her. Next patient was a 57-year-old. She is a patient that drives like over an hour to see me. I saw her and her dad. And the one thing that she mentioned is that when we see that older patients pass away, we send them a sympathy card to the family members. And so her father I was treating, and he passed away, so we sent a sympathy card. And that's the first thing she mentioned when she came in, just thank you for being there for her dad. She has kind of some challenging feet. She had an ulcer on the left lateral malleoli that eventually healed. Took a long time for her to heal, but today the ulcer was healed, so that was an office visit, and then I did her nail care for her. And then she's living a ways away in Connecticut. She may or may not come back for routine care. Next patient was a patient that had hallux limitus, and she'd been having some pain, so we made an orthotic with Morton's extension and did an office visit and kind of talked through that. That was one of 2 orthotics for the day. Kind of what I do for the day. My goal is to do two orthotics per day, and so today I was able to do that. Next was a 41-year-old female that got Shockwave number 5 out of 6, and we also dispensed her orthotics. She's starting to do better with her heel pain. Next was a CaryFlex. I did another CaryFlex. She got a kit, and I just did one nail on her. I tried to have her be seen by Marjorie, but she had already left. So Marjorie is my nail tech. She just comes in a couple of days a week in the morning to do nail care, diabetic nail care. Next patient was a 31-year-old. She came in, got x-rays, got an ultrasound, and she was having pain to the, he had pain to the right anterior lateral foot, and he's an avid hockey player, so he's playing hockey for 24 hours, and I think he was rubbing on the anterior lateral part of his skate and developed like a effusion around his extensor tendons in that area. So I did an ultrasound, I evaluated it, and he's going to just kind of see if it'll go away on its own. It's already kind of gotten better. And then the last one for the morning was a EPAT follow-up after 6 weeks. So this is a challenging patient. She had 6 sessions of Shockwave. She's one that writes down everything and kind of documents it all and sends me these long emails. And I was kind of concerned because whenever she goes on longer hikes, her foot pain comes back. So I was very happy when she came in and she was feeling better. I find with Shockwave a lot of times just giving it time to make it work, so you can't give up too early on that. Then for the afternoon, there was a patient that she was here for CorrectToes follow-up. So she tried some of her own CorrectToes, then she got some other ones. Now on Amazon right now, there are these CorrectToes knockoffs that are just like CorrectToes. So I think, unfortunately, they're just as good as the CorrectToes that are out there. They might not have all the education that goes with them that Ray puts together, but they're a very good device. So she got those ones, and she's doing better. She was kind of asking if they would really correct her hammer toe, bring the second hammer toe down, and fix the bunion. I said, they're not, but they can make it feel better. But the only way to really correct it is to fix it surgically with a bunionectomy and an arthrodesis of that second toe. But for right now, she's using the toe socks and the CorrectToes and the anatomic shoes that I recommended. Next patient was a Shockwave 6 out of 6, so she's going to make a 6-week follow-up. So usually my last Shockwave, I do a level 3 office visit as well. Then were my 2 cancellations. So during the cancellations, I worked on a couple of templates for ModMed. We're switching to ModMed, so I worked on a wart-only one and a wound-only one. So basically templates, they're protocols, that when I click it, it'll populate that in. I'm still struggling a little bit with getting the office visit billing up to the right level, and I was kind of working on that. I'm getting a little bit more accustomed to doing that, so I think practicing helps. Next was a self-pay patient. She had plantar fasciitis on the right side, and I did an ultrasound for her. So, if patients come in, they're self-pay, and they have to pick between doing an x-ray and an ultrasound. I actually think an ultrasound helps me more for plantar fasciitis because I can look at the thickness of the fascia. And I showed her one side looks thicker, the other side not as thick. And then I did the office visit. So for her, it would be a level 3 new visit, and then the ultrasound. So that's $200 for the office visit, and then $100 for the ultrasound. So it's $300. And then she didn't really want to do anything else. I gave her kind of the typical things: night splint, foam rolling, morning stretch, UFO sandals, and I explained where she could buy those on Amazon. She's a kind of a personal friend. Her her husband is a friend of mine from church. And so I recommended actually her to do a cortisone injection because self-pay patients, maybe I tended to judge her, but I think cortisone would be a little bit less expensive than the Shockwave. But I really think in the long term, I told her Shockwave would be a better option to get rid of her plantar fasciitis. So I recommended doing that. So we'll see what she decides when she comes back. Next patient was a number 6 out of 6, plantar fasciitis, 6-week follow-up. He's already starting to feel better. Next patient was a 60-year-old patient, and we did cantharidin before, and this time we just did lesion destruction with selenocaine because it's almost gone, so no follow-up. Next patient, this is a patient, he had a second met fracture, and I saw him 4 weeks ago, and this is kind of a challenge. He's a 59-year-old guy. It's his right foot. It's slightly dorsally dislocated. There's a little bit of a fragment, and it's proximal and medial in terms of its dislocation. And the challenge is he doesn't want to take time out of work. And I put him in a cam boot, and I think he's still wearing his work boot. So these are challenging ones. And he doesn't want to do surgery. And I don't want to do surgery either, but I'm not sure the thing's going to heal because it's already been a month. He feels about the same. X-rays look about the same. I'm going to give it another month. And then if not, I'm going to probably do a CT just to look at the bone's positioning, because I may have to kind of bring it out to length a little bit. Once again, I'm not sure if he would be a good candidate for Shockwave. I did not broach the subject. I probably should have, but I did not. He's just hard because he can't be out of work. He's worried about losing his job. He's worried about taking time off of work, and if we did surgery, like not being able to work. So they're making accommodations for him at work so he doesn't have to walk, but I'm not sure if it's going to heal regardless because of the displacement of that fracture. And then my second orthotic of the day, this patient was a 52-year-old that came in. She had he had a wart on the right heel, so I did Cantharidin. He had tinnitus on the left foot, so I did a prescription for ketoconazole, so that was a level 4 visit. And then he also had hallux limitus, functional hallux limitus. And I showed him that. He had the first ray elevatus on the x-ray. I showed him, and then I put him in an orthotic with a first ray cutout and a Cluffy wedge bilaterally. And so that should help him. I see his wife as well. Next patient was a patient that had an avulsion of the hallux nail after being on terbinafine, and then it was kind of looking bad, but now it's looking much better. But the problem is it's digging in distally, so he has like a distal ingrown toenail, and I'm having to do the T-taping with a 1-inch tape, where you do a T, you tape transverse-wise to kind of stabilize it, and then you tape down plantarly, and then that pulls down the tuft, that distal tuft skin that gets ingrown. And so I'm going to have him do that. So he's going to be seen back as needed. And the last patient of the day, this was a patient who was concerned about subungual hematoma on the I think it was the second toe on the right. And it was just dried blood, and I proved that. I just debrided it down. Does not look like a melanoma, and so I debrided those nails, and I just did an office visit for the hematoma. So that was the day. I'm kind of working on ModMed protocols here for the transition. My staff, everyone is stressed because they're having to make all the follow-ups in the new EMR. We're all kind of stressed trying to figure out how to do it. For our malpractice, we had to do some CME credits, so we had to do those in the last couple of days. So it's just been busy, and it's kind of hard finding time to put these protocols together. I feel like it's coming together. I feel like I'm knowing a little bit more where things are. Morali, my scribe, has been off. He's off for the rest of this week, and so I have a replacement, Krishna. But Krishna is very, very good, so I'm pleased. I just have to keep an eye on some of the details for that. But that's how things are going, and I'll tell you more next time. Okay. Oh, by the way, I did decide to hire this guy, so you might be getting an email if you're on my email list. He's going to be doing one email a week, kind of in my voice. I'm going to be kind of telling him what to do. So look forward to that. I'm hoping to give out more value. And also, in that email, there's going to be a way that you can reply, just hit reply if you have any questions. And this will give me more ideas for podcasts. It'll also help me to give more value to those that are listening. Okay? Thanks, guys. Have a good one.